I'm Chris Farrell from the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast, a wacky weekend morning show, part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out right now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and the opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other awesome geeky shows over at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Thank you for listening to the Intellectual Podcast. I'm your host, David S. Dawson, and I welcome you to Season 8 of our show. The Intellectual Podcast is available on all the major podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Please make sure to tap that subscribe button and never miss an episode of the show. We're also on social media, so give us a like on Instagram or a retweet on Twitter. We are at The Intellectual on both platforms. You can also follow us on Facebook. Just look for Intellectual Entertainment. And subscribe to our YouTube channel and get notifications of our video podcasts and other fun content at youtube.com/intellectual entertainment. We've also joined the fun on Clubhouse. Join us for continuing discussions with our guests and fun rooms talking about the entertainment industry and the latest hot topics in pop culture. Just join the Intellectual Chats Club on Clubhouse. We've even made it easy to find. Visit intellectualchats.club on any web browser to be taken to our club so you can join up. Now, let's get on with the podcast.
Talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. The Intellectual Podcast starts now.
Hello, Intellectual family. We are here today with actress Fanni Compton. Fanni, how you doing today?
I am very well, thank you for asking. So, yeah, not too bad at all. You?
I'm doing well. And we have you're calling in from the UK today, correct?
That is correct, yes. Across the pond from you guys, yes.
Yeah, we had fun doing maths to try and figure out the appointment time.
Oh, right, yes, indeed. It's 10:30 p.m. where I am now. So
yeah, it got complicated because our time changed last weekend and I forgot. So
oh, right. Yeah. Does the UK do a time change?
Yes. I don't know when it is, but yes, we do. Yes.
But it's not the same time as us, which is really weird.
Yeah, so that just complicates it further.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm confused. So yeah.
So Fanni, you're an actress and a singer, correct?
Singer-songwriter. I prefer the emphasis to be on the songwriter. But yes.
Singer-songwriter.
Oh, what kind of music do you do?
That's a very good question, David. Was it David speaking? Sorry.
Yes,
that was David.
All right. Yes. I don't know. It's usually quite melancholy.
Sounds like my kind of music, actually.
Wistful. Kind of ballad, storytelling, sort of songs. I think they're more sort of TV or film placement rather than any sort of chart-topping hits as such. But yes.
Gotcha.
Depressing.
No, that's perfect. That is totally right in my musical wheelhouse. I love like depressing music. Steve will tell
you're
you.
Going to love me.
Steve was my roommate for a few years. He got to listen to all the, Pink Floyd and blues to his heart's content.
I wouldn't say my heart's content, but your heart's content, my heart's lament. So
if it's in a minor key, David loves it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I feel exactly the same. Yes, minor key, I'm anybody's. Yeah.
So Fanni, you're in the arts as a career. Is that what you've always dreamed of being? Like when you were a little kid, did you aspire to be an actress and singer, songwriter?
As I've always said, since exiting the womb, honestly, I think it's a vocation. I just knew it's what I wanted to do. Not necessarily the concept of an actor, or I just knew that I wanted to emote things from people, to move people emotionally, however that was. And it's transpired, it's through comedy, through songwriting, through acting and what have you. But yes, I always wanted to be on the stage, treading the boards. I knew that, yes.
Were you like particularly theatrical as a child? Did you like put any plays on at your house, or were you in community theater or anything like that?
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, I was always, doing stuff at home. nobody was really interested in watching too much, but I did it regardless, to the toys, to whatever will sit there for 10 hours. But, yeah, so that's always been there. And my mother would allow me to do, sort of amateur productions and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always been there. Yeah.
And at what point in your life did it change over from, childhood joy and fun to this is legitimately a career and this is what I'm doing? Like, when did it become serious for you?
I'm still waiting for that to happen, really.
That's the best answer. I like that.
But I don't know. I dress up in wigs and get the lipstick on and look horrendous, and put hats on and, and improvise and do scenes. And that's pretty much how I've built my social media following. So, I don't know. I think when you know that you're sort of, it's going to sound really, but when you know that you're born to do something, there is no other alternative. So it doesn't become a distinction between then and now. It's just a continuance. Yeah.
You have that one clear path ahead of you that that's where you're supposed to be.
There was never anything else on the agenda apart from being a nun for a couple of years. I contemplated it when I was around 16, but then I came back to reality and I want to actually be a performer and actor. But yeah, I've never strayed from that. So yeah. So
it's just the idea of you're always in a state of play, and sometimes people pay you for it.
Exactly. Yes. It better bloody work out now and get success, because otherwise I'm screwed. I'm absolutely screwed, because I've put all of my efforts into this, goddammit now, and we're not getting any younger. So it better happen, big time. I thought, I don't know what I'm going to fall back on otherwise. God damn, yes.
So tell us a little bit about what do you tend to do the most? Do you do theater, film, television? I know you said that you do a lot of character and improv work. What takes up the majority of your time, or is it a mix of all of the above?
Well, during lockdown, none of those have taken my time up, unfortunately. But prior to that, mostly sort of theatre was what I was doing, and slowly eking into television with commercials and whatnot. But yeah, theatre is my love predominantly. That just being live, and you have to roll with the punches. Mistakes are made. Get the hell over it. There's no take one, take two. And I really thrive in that environment and feeling the energy of an audience. This isn't the question you asked, is it?
Oh, no, it totally is. And this show definitely goes off on tangents. So tangent away if you find yourself doing that.
On that same vein, do you remember a moment on stage where you had to improvise the hell out of a scene because of technical or another actor going off book?
I don't, not where I've had to improvise the hell out of a scene. There's been the odd bits here and there, so
okay.
Just when an actor is meant to sit on the on the table, at the end of a song, and actually, the table breaks in half and he falls down to the floor, and I'm the only other actor on stage. You have to look like that's part of it and roll with it. For example, things have happened, but yeah.
I had a mustache fly right off my face in the middle of a scene. That was I was in the middle of a tirade. So I stared at it on the floor, looked at the guy, and said, "You've pissed me off so much, my mustache jumped off of me."
Love it.
Like, what are you gonna do?
Mine. The reason why mine was the actress that I was in a scene with dried and walked off stage.
Wow.
What?
And left me alone. It was Blythe Spirit, and it was in the middle of Act 1 when the ghost was in the room, but I hadn't noticed the ghost yet. And the woman playing my wife dried, and she left stage, leaving me all alone.
I'd have paid good money to watch you alone on stage wondering what to do.
Yes.
That's where I
very
came
squirmy.
up with improvise the hell out of a scene.
Wow.
Wow. Yes, that would be an improvised scene to watch, would it not? Love it.
Annie, where in the UK did you grow up, and how did that affect your artistic sensibilities?
Well, I grew up predominantly in an area called Northamptonshire, which is in the Midlands. Not that any of you will know that. And
some of us actually do. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I actually know exactly what you're talking about. My stepmom's from Tottenham, so.
Oh gosh, really? Right. Well, I stand corrected then. I do apologise. Jeez.
No worries.
The pond's not as big as it once was.
Yes. And in answer to your second question, gosh, I don't know. That's a question nobody's ever asked me. Or have I ever actually thought about, more interestingly? Oh, gosh. I don't know.
Well, because, here in the States, and we're a much larger country, of course, so we've got a lot more variation from place to place. But where you grow up has a lot to do with what kind of influences you feel within your artistic life. People in the Midwest have a tendency towards like country music and, a little less stage presence because the stage isn't generally a huge thing unless you're near a major city like St. Louis or Kansas City, like Whitney was. So I always find it an interesting question to ask people, like, how did growing up where you grew up, affect your creative life when you were younger, and how did it kind of push you forward?
I don't know the answer to the question in terms of where I grew up, and I think a lot of my childhood growing up, it was quite sort of insular, if you will. I was sent, either off to boarding school or the schools that I would go to. I'd be straight back home. I wouldn't be socializing really with anyone unless it was organized groups, ballet or this or that. And I think to some extent my childhood was molded by my mother wanting a certain outcome for me in the long term.
Right.
So I kind of lived in my own bubble and my own world and loved it. And I suppose what it did do, that it might be looked on objectively as a lonely existence as a child, but I do feel it was chosen. I sort of loved just writing poetry, writing songs, recording myself, acting to myself, spending time by myself, reading books, so...
Well, I think that's actually a really good answer, because that sounds like the conditions you were in, and which your mom apparently put you into. That's a psychology question that we can get into later.
Yes.
This condition that you're in really kind of drove you inward and kind of tapped into your creative mind to fill in gaps that weren't filled with time playing with other kids and stuff.
Yeah, I think so. But I would like to just emphasize the fact I was happy doing that. I wasn't locked in my bedroom under key, lock and key. I feel that's important to state, should anyone be listening to this, Mother Dearest. But I think it has taught me to enjoy my own company. And I was taught early on that there's nothing wrong with boredom. And I think that's a really interesting thing, which we don't teach children now. The first sight of boredom. Right. Oh, shove an iPad in front of them, do this, do that. But yeah, being bored is where a lot of creativity stems from. And I think this is what people discovered during lockdown. Yeah. That suddenly when, you became, in inverted commas, bored, there was time to get creative or to learn something or to take up a new language or just, I don't know, to bake, to dance, to whatever.
Yeah, all the people who suddenly were doing new creative things in their lives was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Everything from, like you said, baking to learning languages to doing, I've been learning to play the guitar,
Side tangent question. What did you do during lockdown, Fanni, as far as creative outlet?
Oh gosh, putting me on the spot. I did a range of things. I suppose my creativity didn't differ too much to begin with. I was writing comedy songs and putting them out there. I wrote co-wrote a series called Lockdown Lifeline, which won a couple of awards here and there on film festivals. And that I'm saying, I just co-wrote this sitcom. It was wicked, the sheer amount of work there was to do, because all the actors were working remotely, and you had to be the director of it, the producer, via email. It was just rancid. It was really hard work. And just think, oh God, at times, what the hell am I doing this for? What am I doing this for? Ridiculous amount of work. And then the editing, I could go on moaning, but I won't. I can if I'm given permission now, but it was really incredibly hard work. I'd just like to note that. But yeah, just a range of creative endeavors, putting out different characters and releasing another single of my own. So yeah, bits and pieces, but lockdown has affected me as it has many. And I've got no substance to kind of draw from, no characters, no nothing. And creatively, I've just sort of dried up.
Yeah, the creative well is running a little low right now, I think, for a lot of people. Because we take so much of our ideas from outside stimuli and things.
For sure. So yeah. Did that answer the question at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you were way more productive than I was. I did a lot of baking and gained like 8 pounds. So, yours was a better option.
Whitney, I have gained a hell of a lot more than that. So I beat you on that. I did that plus all those things. I got fatter and and did all those other things. But yes, I'm very rotund now.
Yeah, I was trying to perfect macarons, which, they're delicious, but also I have no self-control whenever those cookies are around.
Yeah, I feel you. So,
yeah. I never saw any of those cookies, Whitney. What's up with that?
They haven't been perfected yet, David. I can't give you the flops. I eat the flops.
So I will never see a cookie is what you're saying.
Is that, it's kind of, but Fanni, we were talking a little bit about your childhood, and you said that you went to boarding school. Did they have theater and acting courses, or where did you start to hone your craft?
Oh gosh, no, absolutely not. Not at that time. No. There was classical singing lessons on offer, and ballet and tap. And that was it, with the extent of anything maybe vaguely theatrical or putting yourself out there. So, yeah, there was nothing like that at that time, certainly at boarding school. It was purely academic, which didn't serve me that well, because I just wanted to have jazz hands and everybody look at me. But yes, later on, there were a few groups and, drama was favoured a little more at some of the schools I went to later. Always just was fighting for the lead role in something, be it man, woman, whatever accent, I'll do it. And then went to stage school after that.
Which stage school?
I say after that, it was from quite young, actually. It was called Charlie Chaplin Stage School, which is closed down now. But yeah, that was the all jazz hands, singing, dancing, tits and teeth. Stage school as you would know it, and I bloody adored it. I did everything there, tap, ballet, modern, acrobatics, dancing on my nose, singing, whatever it was,
Sounds very vaudeville.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Can't do any of that now, hardly.
But how comprehensive of an education. That's amazing. So coming out of that school, where did you go from there?
You mean after this sort of the education system had finished, do you mean?
Yes, yes.
Oh, gosh, life took over in parts, some murky parts that we need not enter into, but, some gritty, dramatic life entered into this part. And then, gosh, what did I do? Yes, I started applying for drama schools, I guess, thinking I need to hone my craft. And finding somewhere reputable to do that. So I went to one school down in London, and after a year, I got expelled for bad behaviour. Don't ask. It was a murky, weird story. And then
time.
Steve lives in those kinds of stories.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Look, the guy was nice enough, but he just, who ran the school, but he had a bit of a chip on his shoulder. He was an alcoholic, and we just came to blows a lot, I think. Deep down, he loved me, but he couldn't cope with me, so he expelled me for bad behaviour. I say it was all weird, but let's not. But then, after being thrown out of that and crying for God knows how long and feeling my life was over, I then won a scholarship to another school based in London, and that's where I did my master's in classical acting, and I bloody loved it. One of the best times of my life. So it all worked out okay in the end. So
yeah,
that's what I did.
Sounds like it worked out very well. So you have a degree in classical acting. So do you do a lot of Shakespeare?
Unfortunately not presently, but we have a company over here. I don't know if you're familiar with it, called the Royal Shakespeare Company, or the RSC.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's kind of still the dream for me, to tread the boards with that company for sure. I still very much hold out for that. So,
I think any actor worth their salt holds out for that, right? It's
well, you say that. I don't know many actors in my circle who say yes, that's a box that I would want to tick off.
Well, they're not worth their salt.
Well, it's more television now, because you see that's where money is, and people. It's quicker. It's a different. It's a different field.
I think there's a difference between like short-term financial success and long-term craft building.
Yeah, for sure. But I've noticed, certainly I say in my social circles with actors, but it's more towards getting that first line on television or that reoccurring role in a soap. and that's sort of hammered home that's the way to sort of go. So I don't meet many actors, actually. Maybe I'm in the wrong social circles, but who actually say, we've got the Donmar over here, or the National, or, to work for the RSC. I don't come across many who's like, yeah, that's really what I want to do.
I feel like they're missing out, man. Like so many actors who have come out of that side of the theater, whenever they do transition to film, their careers are just like epic and, long lasting, because they have that wonderful foundation of the classics that they're taking with them.
Exactly. Yeah. I am a bit of a snob in that respect. I just think, in some respects, who the hell are you to grace the screens when you haven't done fundamental training on the stage?
Right? Oh, love it. Yes, I agree with your snobbery right there.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to hate me. That comment, who the bleep is she? But, it's just where the grounding, the foundations are of acting skills, taking acting skills and turning it into an art in real time. That's where it's really learnt, that's where fear is faced, and just becoming, I think, on your way to becoming a phenomenal actor, I think.
But you know what? Despite the fact, lots of people have their paths, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who do perfectly well that have not come up through the theater training. But I cannot tell you how many casting directors, when they look at my resume and see theater as background, they're like, oh, love you, theater people. You guys can do anything. Like, you're acting monsters, memorize fast, memorize well, memorize accurately, and just hit the mark every time. That's the foundations, man. It's very important. So I feel like people who don't take the time to study, even if it's not like in a program like you went to, but there has to be something there to keep it going. You need those foundations, and you need to continue your education. That is all.
Exactly.
I'm a teacher, so get up on that soapbox.
Well, yeah, and there's never really any excuse, because there's so many people that'll give you work for free, you work for free. So there's never any excuse for not being able to do that, or not getting the opportunity. You might not be doing a leading role in a massive production, but there's always an opportunity to be able to doing that. Honing your bloody craft, and realizing that's at the core.
Yeah,
I feel we're
absolutely.
Digressing. But yes. Very passionate about that.
Well,
I love that.
We love the passion. Whitney and I and Steve, all three act in some variety. I also produce, direct, and write. And Steve writes, so we all have kind of our own opinions about actors who, can't quite show up on set and know exactly what the lines are. I'll work my way through it. You hear that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. That's really frustrating. It's like, do your job, show up, know your lines, and know them right. Don't paraphrase the whole thing. Like, it gets really frustrating.
For sure. Right. Yeah. I totally agree with you. But yeah, there we go.
So
what can I say? Get your backsides in the theatre.
Yeah. So you came up to the theatre scene. You're hoping to work with Royal Shakespeare at some point. When did you get into the songwriting part of your career?
I first released something, which I've now deleted off the streaming platforms. I first released something probably about 2.5 years ago. I'd always been writing songs since I was a child, recording myself and then getting a separate tape recorder to record the harmonies over that or whatever it was. I'd always been writing songs or poems. But I don't know. I got to that stage in my life and I thought, do you know what? I'm not just a bloody one-trick pony here. There's more things in my life that I want to do. Yes, I want to be the next Meryl Streep, but until I get there, there's a lot of things that I also want to do and dreams that I want to see through. And one of those is just simply, feeling that I had the permission to release songs that I had written and putting them out there.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, you can actually do that, If you learn and take the time and do what you have to do, you can actually do that. And I thought, why the hell aren't you doing it? So yeah, I just started doing it. My first song, so embarrassed of, after a year, I took that down. But then I worked on my first EP and some more other singles or whatever, which I'm proud of now,
So now you're a singer. Are you a musician as well? Like, do you play piano or guitar, or do you team up with someone for the instrumental portions of your songs?
I play very, very, very basic chords on the guitar and less so on the piano. And then, so I'll build a framework of the song. I know how it will go, obviously write all the lyrics. And then I need to go to a producer who can beef it up and make it sound beautiful and add different instruments, Yeah, that's kind of the process for that. But yeah, I love it. I love doing it. I love releasing music and creating images in my head when I'm doing it. And yeah.
Where do you tend to get your inspiration from for your songs?
Excuse me, Jesus. Usually from feeling depressed or feeling upset or down or confused or frustrated about something. It will usually come from a strong emotion that I'm not able to vocalize somehow to people. So I'll end up putting it into a song. Or it might be a memory, that just keeps playing over in my head. So I put it into a song to sort of put it to bed and then release it. And then it's, from anything really.
Okay.
Anything.
So in your process, do you find that the lyrics come to you prior to the melody, or what is the process there?
Again, there isn't really a strict process. Sometimes I can hear a quote, which inspired one of my latest songs, which is called Outside In. Just a quote that I heard and I wanted to make that into a song. Or I say sometimes it's just a feeling and I'll start speaking out some words, or I don't know, but then sometimes I'll get some music in my head and the chorus will play round and round. So there is no process, it just comes in many different shapes and forms.
Sounds like you have several different muses that hit you at different times.
Yeah, for sure. And even listening to different artists will inspire you, so yeah. inspiration is everywhere, isn't it? If you look.
If you're open to it, yes.
Yeah, exactly. If you're all open and you're ready to create, God, it's just everywhere, you know. So yeah.
So we met you on Clubhouse.
This is true. Yes.
where we've all kind of like found Whitney and I recently, and Steve just got onto Clubhouse recently too, but like after a year of lockdowns and separation from everybody, it was like suddenly here's all these people in one place where we can all hear each other talk and have conversations.
Yeah.
And I remember walking into your room. It was you and Sandra.
That's correct. Yes. And
you two had me in stitches with the way you were interacting with the people in that room on Clubhouse.
Oh, gosh, really?
I was laughing.
Funny.
I think that's why it was funny, is you were just being like authentic and fun, and the way you interacted with everybody just really caught me off guard. It was unlike any other room I'd been into. I said to Whitney, we got to get these ladies on the podcast.
Right. Well, that's awesome. It's good to know. Thank you.
How did you find Clubhouse, and what's been your experience in there, meeting new creatives and interacting with people that way after this, year of solitary confinement, essentially?
Yeah, I think Clubhouse couldn't have come at a better time, really, in terms of, bringing people together. I think it's very clever and was possibly much needed, Clubhouse. I mean, it's just a different level of interaction, isn't it? So I think it's really exciting. Actually, it's a really exciting app. Would it be as exciting if lockdown wasn't happening?
That's the question, right?
I don't know. Yeah.
I've had that discussion in a lot of the rooms.
Yeah, it's difficult to gauge, isn't it? So I'm saying it's come at a perfect time where people, you're not going to feel alone on this app. There's so many different areas for you to tap into as well and learn and grow. And but yeah, as I say, I'm not sure if it had the same impact if lockdown wasn't happening. I don't know. But either way, it's happened when it's happened. And I've certainly become obsessive with it. I'm just really excited by all the different things that you could possibly do with it. And, you think about different rooms you could host, and it's just different ideas, doing things via audio. I'm already getting excited about potentially hosting an improvisation room, and doing challenges or competitions, things like that through it. So I don't know. It's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talked about an improvisation room.
Yeah.
One of our other friends, who's an actress here in town, she and I started talking the other day, and we're thinking of doing that in our intellectual
awesome.
chats, is doing an improv room, because she's been like the rest of us, like craving that interaction with improv people, and she hasn't had it,
Well, and there are a lot of improv folks on this platform, so I think you guys would get quite a few people joining in.
Yeah, you're going to be part of that, Whitney.
Yeah, exactly. But there's lots you can do with it, and just the ability to be able to connect with people that is, usually so far out of your realm or reach, physically or otherwise. I just think it's immense, and I'm still just overwhelmed at the fact that the caliber of people you can be in the room with, and potentially sharing a stage with. I mean. Yeah. I was in a room a week ago with I've forgotten his name. Is it Malcolm McDowell, the lead guy of Clockwork Orange?
Yeah.
It was 5 o'clock in the morning, my end, but I just couldn't get enough of it, that I could hear this guy who I'd never otherwise hear, talking about his times at the Royal Court over in the UK, and just his whole journey of how he started as an actor, darling, an actor.
Because, he was an If originally, right? Or was that his second movie?
He was a what, sorry?
Oh, in the film, Was it If that he was in when he was like a teenager?
Possibly. I don't know much of his film work, to be honest, other than Clockwork. I didn't know too much about his other film
Clockwork
work.
was really when he kind of hit the scene on everybody, really. So
yes,
it's understandable.
But just his whole theatre training as well. He was heavily theatre started off. But yes, just being in rooms with people like that or otherwise, or just people that have got so much experience and being able to speak with them real time.
Yeah.
And then actually make connections off the back end of speaking with them as you would on a phone. I just think bloody phenomenal. It's no longer 6 degrees of separation.
No, not at all.
I was in a room the other day listening to Jared Leto talk to people and take questions. Like, this is incredible.
Mm-hmm. So,
coming out of lockdown, because eventually, we will go back to some version of normalcy.
Will we?
Maybe. What are your hopes moving forward in your career and for the future when everything sort of comes back? And now that you've formed some of these connections and bonds through this app, and what are your hopes going forward?
I don't know. I guess you get so bogged down. Whatever happens, the longer things continue, the more you start accepting them as normality. And so the way in which we've been over the past year and a quarter or whatever now, or whatever, it just becomes a norm and you get stuck in that cycle of functioning in that world. So, and with no real end to it. You don't really know if there's going to be an end to it. So I don't know. I don't know if I've got any hopes as such. That doesn't mean that I'm not hopeful.
Right.
It means that I'm positive that things will work out however they're supposed to work out for the best. And I just need to continue to work hard, play hard, but do all the things I should be doing in order for those things to happen. And what will be will be sort of thing. So I know it's maybe a rubbish answer, but I don't know what I hope for, really, at the moment.
Well, no, that's not a rubbish answer. It just means you're open to the possibilities, right?
Yeah, I guess so, yes.
Well, I think it's also a very fair answer after especially like the UK. You guys opened up a bit and closed down again, and opened up a bit and closed down again, right? And kind of expand and contract thing going on for the better part of the last year. It's probably harder to actually see the end of it all, since it kind of keeps getting pulled out from under you, right?
Exactly. So there's nothing really to trust at the moment as a landing ground.
Everybody in California is just kind of like, hey, we've been under lockdown since March last year. Like, it just never stops.
And just recently in Florida, they just had a major incident that they had to lock down Miami because too many people came there for spring break.
Yeah.
Oh, Miami.
Wow.
Oh, Florida people. If you Google Florida man, you will see a myriad of really interesting things.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with that, Fanny, but
Florida man.
Florida newspapers have a mandate about posting articles about local crimes.
Right.
And so if you Google the term Florida man, you will be hit with the most random, strange, bizarre behaviors.
Oh, wow.
They're always posted online from the news media about Florida man did this, Florida man caught doing that.
I see. That is so what I'm going to be doing after this podcast.
Yeah. It's really good fuel for comedy.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a total rabbit hole. Like, you start going down it and you just...
How have I not heard of this? Florida man. I'm all over that.
You're going to have fun going down that rabbit hole.
Right. Yeah. Gosh.
You're welcome.
Tonight. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
So, Fanny, I did want to touch on something that you said a second ago when we were talking about, your hopes and stuff. You said you're going to keep on doing the work and keep on preparing yourself and everything. What does that look like for you as an actor? And because I think this would be good advice for all actors, like some of the work that you can be doing now, even if you're still in lockdown, in preparation for that future someday.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Do I have a good answer? Who knows? There's an element, I would say, as an actor, that you have to think of yourself as a brand, an element. And so you have to be thinking each day, what am I doing that is pushing that brand forward, that is showing it to the right people? What can I do each day which further pushes that brand, showing what I can do? So I think there's a part of that. And that may mean having to, I don't even think it's a may anymore. I think everyone should be, if you're an actor especially, creating your own work. That will look different for every single person. For some people, that'll be 10-second skits on TikTok. For somebody else, that'll be half an hour webisodes of something, or, singing a song. But creating your own work, something that separates you from the masses, because that's all it is out there, masses of heads that want to be actors and that are talented and skilled. So trying to find ways which separate you, not in a weird way, but that just separate you from the masses of other people, I think, and trying to get the attention of the right industry people with what you're doing, working on your craft. You can be doing that whether in lockdown or not, but especially in lockdown. God, just YouTube videos, from people who know what the bloody hell they're talking about, Michael Caine or or Uta Hagen, whoever it is. That's just a start of things you could be doing watching masterclasses, reading scripts, becoming versed in cold reading, filming yourself, filming monologues and saying, do I believe myself? And if you don't, do it again. I don't know. There's so many different, and that's part of being creative, but finding ways to hone your craft daily and to be putting yourself in front of the eyes of people who matter, who are going to get you to where you want to be. I think that's what you can be doing.
I think it's a beautiful list of things that someone can do. I know a lot of actors were panicked and stuff when lockdowns all began. Like, oh, I had all this momentum, and now it's all gone. And what do I do with myself? And my suggestion to all of them was basically the same. It's like, you got time to work on your craft, the craft.
Yeah. I took advantage. Yeah, I took advantage of. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Steve.
I took advantage of two things. One, that my employer pays for going to college, and so during the lockdown, I thought, oh, okay, I'll finish my degree, and I was working on my creative writing degree, and I wrote a great script, a great short script in a creative writing class. And I've been trying to market that around. So the two things is that, one, I was able to go back to school and start writing again. But on the other hand is that I got laid off from the job. So I had to drop out of school. But what you're saying is very valid. I really appreciate that. It's giving me a better insight of what I should be doing with my writing. Is look at myself as a brand.
And your time.
And my time, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just so nice to have that time to actually focus on foundational things, because I feel like a lot of times you are so busy, chasing the jobs and things like that, that sometimes it is a challenge to find time just to work on the craft. So, but you have to, and it's so important. So it's lovely that you've been able to take advantage of, it's a bad situation, but man, gives you time. So that's great.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think you just got to ask yourself a bit, what's the alternative? If you're not working on that, then what are you doing? And what are you going to be doing when it hits and we are back, in inverted commas, to normality? There'll be people that are far ahead of you or who will have used that time, You just want to use your time wisely. We all have 24 hours, everybody, whoever you are. And it's using those, really wasting them wisely, I think. Yeah.
Wasting them wisely. I think that's wonderful advice.
Yeah.
Well, Fanni, I know it's like late in the middle of the night for you out there. So I think, and we're coming up on 50 minutes here. So before we say goodbye, or farewell until next time.
Until we meet again.
What?
Yes.
No, nowhere. Don't know when.
Where can people find you if they want to check out that social media? They want to hear your music. What are the places they can find you online?
I'm really basic, really simple. Fanni Compton on everything. That's FANNI, and then Compton, COPTON. You can literally just tap me into Google, and all of my social media links or anything will crop up there. Spotify, iTunes, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Not sure if Clubhouse will come up yet, but again, just type in Fanni Compton and I'm on there as well. Should you be so inclined to follow me, then, that'd be great. That'd be great. I'm very easy to find, really.
Fantastic. Whitney, Steve, you guys have anything you want to say to her before we wrap it up?
Thank you so much for staying up late to join us for this interview. This was great.
Oh, no, I'll be up many hours yet, working into the night by candlelight. Won't be by candlelight. I just wanted to sound artsy. But no, yes, I'll be up many hours yet, so fret not about that. Thank you so very much for having me. I'm genuinely honoured. I always sort of think, well, why would anyone want to speak to me? I don't have much to proffer. So I'm very humbled. So thank you so much for that. Appreciate it, all of you.
Well, thank you.
No, Fanni, it was an absolute pleasure.
Was humbled by me.
Sorry, what was that, Stephen?
That was the first time anybody's been humbled by me.
Oh, well, there you go. They do say.
Thank you very much.
I am very humbled by you, Stephen.
Thank you.
All right. So let it be known.
Yes, and when we hang up, these two are going to just rip me a new one, and that humble feeling is now going to be going away.
Right. Well, just cling on to it for as long as you can. That's all I suggest, really. But thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Fanni.
And David, I'm so glad we made the connection on Clubhouse as well. So
me too, absolutely. And I'll let you know when this episode's dropping, and we definitely would like to have you come on our Clubhouse room and be available for any questions and further chats people might have from the episode.
Look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Fanni.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Hello there, citizens. I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the floaty that will not flush no matter how many times you try in the toilet bowl of crime. I am Darkwing Duck, telling you please, talk hard and enjoy the mindgasm. Whatever the heck that means. After all, you are watching Intellectual Podcast with your ears.